Good morning. Welcome to the East Brandywine Township Board of Supervisors AM meeting. Do we have any public comment on agenda items? Yes. Hey, how you doing, Carl?
I just want to make a brief comment. I understand the budget's already advertised.
Can you put your, there you go.
I just want to make a brief comment on your resolution on setting a tax rate, that I know the budget's already advertised. My brief comment.
Now, Carl?
My brief comment is that I'm disappointed that the position of foreman in the road department was eliminated in the budget, and that I would support, once I become a supervisor, to reinstate that back into the budget.
You mean like the position itself, or you mean the actual, the title of the position?
It means
The
promotion.
title.
Promotion.
So you want a title?
The title and the dollars.
Why does that matter, though?
I think
You,
it'll
I'm
make-
just curious. I mean,
Pardon me?
what does that matter to you as far as what people are called? And, I mean, we need to see what the description of what their work's gonna be done before we even.
Understand all that. I left that part out, figuring that's a no-brainer. You have to make sure you have a proper description, et cetera. But I believe it'll lead to efficiencies in the department. You can have two crews working instead of one. There's a backup if there's an emergency and you can't get a hold of Matt, et cetera. I just think that in studying it last year on the Budget Committee, that was a position that once you added another employee, wasn't appropriate in 2020 or 2021. But once you added another appropriate, I personally believe it'll add to efficiencies.
I think that, you know,
Can I comment?
Right, you don't have
I
to
think that we've been asking, I'll be honest with you, we've been asking Matt for descriptions of what his workers are gonna be doing and what they do, and haven't gotten that, and I've been here for 4 years, and I haven't gotten that yet. And I'm not saying, Matt, I shouldn't say this if he's not here to defend himself, I'd be more than happy to have this conversation with him, but I just
No,
want to see
no,
what they're doing.
understand.
I wanna see a game plan of what the road department is doing. We only added 2.5 miles of roads. That's not a lot, Carl. I don't think it's a lot to justify a $50,000 salary plus a pension and everything else. I mean, for 2.5 miles of roads, and I would rather just, me personally, I'm just saying, I want to see what this is about.
Carl's just talking not about the additional.
Right, I'm not
side,
here
he's
to
talking
debate.
about the
I'm-
promotion.
No,
Yeah,
he's talking about the actual, he's talking about the title, though. That's what I mean. I'm talking about,
He's talking
how
about
can you name someone something if we don't know what they're doing?
No, basically, you're saying you would have inserted the promotion into the budget.
And make sure there's
And
proper job
basically,
descriptions
yeah,
and all that stuff,
my comment
right.
too, in terms of what I felt, no job description was ever provided. No performance appraisals were ever done to determine who would be the foreman, okay? With that, so that promotion was never sold because it wasn't.
But I'm not speaking to the
presented
mechanics
properly.
or how you do it. I'm just speaking that,
And I'm giving you the reasons why I voted not to put it in. That's
correct.
all, okay?
And I agree with everything you said, but maybe if I was, maybe I'm looking at it that I would have made that promotion, I'd have left that promotion in the budget, subject to the things.
Right, that's fine, that's
that you
fine.
were
I understand. that.
describing.
That's fine.
That's all.
Appreciate your comment.
And well, that's it. I'm sorry I got here late. More traffic.
Okay.
Even like another thing, I've been saying this,
You want this off or on?
you can keep it on, doesn't matter. We lose so much money from the road department. I'm just saying, I mean, sticks, mulching, we're in the negative. We are doing this services for the residents, which is great, but we're losing money doing it. It costs us more money than, I mean, from last year, I remember I was talking about it one time, and I think the numbers speak for itself. I'll share it with everyone. I'll gather it back out, but it was like, we were negative $40 an hour or something, you know, so there's a lot of things I think could be more efficient, so, but thank you. All right, is there any other public comment on agenda items? The reports from the previous meeting, do we have any? No? So we're
No,
just moving on to the ordinances then, for resolutions for consideration. The Resolution 9 of 2021, the authorization and direction to transfer the unencumbered funds. You guys have any questions?
No, I have none.
George?
Do you need to say something about it or no?
It is a, Resolution 9 is a routine. First of all, good morning, everybody. Second of all, yeah, so generally at the first meeting in December, we do 2 routine activities, and then we have one that is not routine. Using the surplus from the conservative financial way in which the township is run, we don't use our entire budget. So at the end of the year, we transfer the remaining funds to fund capital projects in the next year. And so what Resolution 9 does is authorize the transfer of funds from the general fund to the capital reserve. Those funds represent the savings between what was anticipated in the budget approved last year and what happened over the course of this year.
Okay. So, Resolution 9 of 2021, authorizing and directing the transfer of unencumbered funds. I so move. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to Resolution 10 of 2021, authorization and direction to transfer these unencumbered funds representing revenue loss for the fiscal year of 2020 pursuant to the Department Treasurer's Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds interim rule. I so move. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution 11 of 2021, this is the establishment of the tax rate for general township purposes, the tax rate for fire services, the annual refuse fees and recycling fees for the calendar year of 2022. Luke?
Okay, so at your last meeting, you authorized staff to advertise a preliminary budget. That preliminary budget had assumptions on revenue sources that are memorialized in this resolution. There is no change to the real estate tax for general purposes. There is a change to the real estate tax for the purposes of fire service. And there is no change to the solid waste fees assessed per participating unit. At this time, I'd respectfully ask you to pass Resolution 11, 2021, establishing the fee schedule or the annual refuse and the real estate tax for 2022.
I so move. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Luke. Public comment on non-agenda items. Hello.
How about show and tell? I didn't expect it to go this quickly.
Trying to set a record. Well, Sammy, while you're getting started, I do want to talk about, if maybe we can talk to the Trails Committee about possibility of putting a walkway along Gilroy Road from Hopewell to the park.
From the
I
school.
see kids walking like in the grass and on the road like every day.
You-
From Hopewell Road neighborhood to like Brandywine Wallace Elementary School. And then like, can we talk to the Dangtown School District, considering that's a restricted speed zone, and see if they would be willing to split the difference in the cost of sidewalks, and possibly talk to the homeowners about maybe including that in the master plan for the east-west trails system instead of just going through Corner Catch neighborhood, but also put another one along Dilworth Road, and maybe talk to the south side homes as far as like Bob, few of those homes about whether or not they would be okay with it. I mean, they have already had people walking on their front yard. I think it'd probably be, maybe advantageous. Do you guys understand where?
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
So you're,
with that
so,
area.
so
When you
in
leave-
front
if
of,
you're- if you're
in
leaving
front of the
Brandywine
Dilworth
Wallace parking
Park,
lot-
there is a walkway, the entire length of the park. You're talking about continuing it from Dilworth Park down to to
Hobo
Hopewell?
Road. Hobo Road.
On
And then
which-
just- and
which
then
side,
putting a
though?
crossing or something there.
Oh, yeah, put a crossing in.
It looks like it'd be more cost effective on the side,
Yeah, I think there's probably only
Six
six houses.
but then there's poles, but that's the side that would probably be easier. But I just want to throw it out there because every time I drive by there every day and I see people walking there on the road, I figured I'd throw it out there.
When you get right away, who's gonna maintain the sidewalk?
Yeah, and just to kind of get the conversation started, see if it's even something worth
We've
looking
had
at.
those conversations before,
Have they?
but there wasn't anything negative about it. It just never went anywhere.
Just never went anywhere?
It would be good for the Trails Committee and then also maybe take it up in the task force too.
Okay, if you guys don't mind, if you guys are okay with it, I'd like to,
I think it's a great idea, so.
It's worth investigating.
if you guys,
Yeah.
I'll
Sorry to
tend,
jump in.
yeah, that's good, I'll tend those and kind of get it started again, just to refresh it, if it's okay. Carl, with your experience with school district, would they be willing to contribute anything, considering that it's their students and it is a slower zone from that area?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you think the school district would be willing to contribute to sidewalks for their students to, because that is a walking zone, it used to be, I mean, when I went to school there. All the kids from
To be
that
honest
one,
with you, the answer is probably not. For several reasons, not, I mean, they only do that when they're ordered to, or by a township or PennDOT or wherever, because if you set the precedence by
okay,
helping one area to put sidewalks in, then every area is going to.
The only other thing you could do is you could put the sidewalk in front of the school all the way to the edge of their property and have the crosswalk further down on Dilworth and then connect over onto,
You're talking about the trail at Brandywine Wallace?
no, I'm just talking about a new
a
new
walking path
walkway
for students to.
along
Brandywine.
Dilworth Road.
I mean, you can always present it to them, but, you know, you ask my opinion, generally
Yeah.
they're not going to
Okay,
set a precedence. I mean, we don't even do playground, all the playgrounds are done by the
that's true,
parent-teacher.
that's true.
One playground, then,
Gotta do all of them.
right. and
Yeah, that's the
then
Parent-Teacher
they start
Association, yeah.
competing who can have the best playground.
You know, as far as that, like I know it's gonna be coming up for Dangtown School District's request for the tax refund.
Yes?
So I would like to try to maybe utilize some of those funds for something. Maybe even as for the, but when that comes on the agenda, I guess, next meeting.
Yeah, so on your December 16th agenda, there is a request for exoneration of the,
The 7-year.
yes, it's the
309X.
agricultural preferential tax treatment
Yeah.
that the Weaver Tract has been subject to. And they'll be asking for relief for the collection of that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll keep my comments for then. Hello.
Hello. I'm here to talk about the Bondsville Mill having internet service. I've been talking about this to the Bondsville Mill Committee for about a year, and the meeting a couple weeks ago, they finally approved it, probably to get rid of me, but they approved it along with buying a router. Luke thought about it over the weekend, and he decided that he could not come to you and ask for internet service for the mill, but he encouraged us, if we felt strongly enough about it, to be here. So here I am. In defense of Luke, he doesn't know what other programs we would use it for. What Luke has heard is that we want to use it on Saturday mornings and Monday mornings when the library is operating. Up until now, we have been using one of our volunteers' hotspots, although Luke recently loaned us a hotspot. And we were able to finish putting all the books in. I would highly recommend that you come and visit our library. You will not believe what it looks like. And all the books have either been donated or purchased with grants. None of them are there aren't any fiction books there. They're all nonfiction. Most of them are children's books. The recent emailing that I sent out asking for a list of books, within a week we had them all, and each and every one of those books represents a new program for us. As an example, here's one of the books that was purchased and donated. With a book like this, we would do a program using the internet. We would have registration. We do registration for our programs not just because of COVID, but because we don't want to be overwhelmed. We want to know what's going to happen. Generally, it's 10 to 12 children that come. Having them be able to sign up on the internet, or having their internet access, I can send them a list of what we're going to be, which birds we're going to be looking for. So they don't necessarily have to come to the program. They can come with their parents and they can look. On a regular basis, up until 2 weeks ago when we painted the building, we would have all kinds of scavenger hunts available for the kids just to pick up and take with them as they're walking around the park. Very popular. I should probably have my own number for the printer here, because it's amazing how quickly they go through. Another thing that we do, another thing that will go into these boxes that we can interact with the kids, the families, are the books that we're going to start publishing. One of our volunteers was given, a printing, what's it called? A publication center was donated to the mill. And this is our first product here. It shows different animals that they could see in the winter. They can color it. They can really work with this. Another program that we're going to have is our water program. My dollar store sieves and my dollar store magnifying glass here. And what we would do here is, again, when they sign up for the program, we will send them photos of what they'll be looking for in the water. Up until now, they just came, and there are always the shy kids who aren't going to speak up, and they're afraid that they don't know what they're looking for. How else? I guess maybe I should also back up and say, you all don't really know what happens at the park so far as the gardeners programs go, and so far as the library programs go. We have a fantastic group of volunteers who are extremely active. In the library, we have 3 retired librarians, 2 of whom are reading specialists. I wish we had had internet this past year, because we could have had books like this being read maybe at lunchtime, and the kids could have accessed YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, we've been asked by one of the organizations that donated money for us to build the race walk, which is right behind the buildings. They asked us to do a YouTube on that race. And we're in the process of doing that, so we're learning how to do that. They will post it on their website. But without having our own internet, there's no way that we can access that to show our own, show people that are coming through. I mean, we could have a program on gardens or something, and we would be able to bring that in. Now, let's see what else. The other point is we can stream in the library at some point. This is coming. These are mostly coming. Every time we talk about doing something, somebody says, well, do you have internet? And we'll say no, and they'll say, well, then you could have done this or you could have done that. The Chester County beekeepers are working very closely with us. They probably would, with internet access, they probably would put a camera on the hive and show what's going on in the hive on a regular basis. They do this. They had been doing this at that park, this county park, the one that's out. Oh, well, I don't even remember. Anyhow, that park was hit badly by floods. They lost all their hives.
Warwick? Isn't that out in Warwick?
The big park.
Hibernian?
No.
French Creek?
Further, Newland Township.
Euclid?
Newland,
Oh,
that
Newland.
way. No.
Struble?
Furnace?
Anyhow, it's a really big county park. And, but anyhow, they had been doing that at that park, and all their hives washed away in Ida. And they're talking with us about perhaps setting up a couple of hives up above and being able to continue doing this. And I mean, this is, we don't have to do the bees, but it would be really interesting. It'll all be fenced off. They've already offered insurance and all that kind of thing. Again, that's to be decided, but it would be so interesting to be able to show that, and so much safer to be able to show what goes on in the hives if we have the internet access. And then I guess the last thing I'll talk about is the security. It's been a year and a couple weeks since we were hit with so much vandalism. And one of my volunteers, who is a water engineer, put together a package that how we could have cameras here and there, and but they would all have to be blended in with an internet service. And again, we couldn't move forward with that. And I even had one of our residents, who was so totally disgusted with what happened, offered to purchase the camera security business. And they offered, I think, $700 for that. So we keep getting stuck we keep hitting this roadblock. So I'm here to ask if you'll support internet for the Bondsville Mill. We were quoted $67 a month, and they're going to install it for free. And at $67 a month, I got carried away. I divided it by, even if it was just used for the library, 8 days a week, 4 hours, 8 hours a week, it would be $837 a week. And that's just, I don't think that that's too expensive for what we're trying to do. And finally, the visibility.
I'm sorry, what, 837, what was the 837?
Yeah,
For the year?
No,
No,
a week.
a week.
837 being,
yeah, or $418 a day.
It's just, she divided $67 a month divided by how many hours it's gonna be used.
oh, okay.
I got carried away.
Well, yeah, but you don't just use it for, it's on all the time.
No, that was just a
So-
sales trip. That was a
so-
sales trip.
Right.
That was a sales trip.
So here's just another thought. I would assume that there's no internet needed December, January, February, and March. Can it be prorated down to turning it on in April and turning it off at the end of November?
I didn't go there, but we will use it in January. We will be doing our programs. We have a lot of
My
people.
question, if you guys are.
Yeah, we do. Now, the library is not officially opening until April on Earth Day. And, but in the meantime, we're going to be continuing to do these programs, and we could start doing the reading online programs immediately. Well, not the first weekend in January. And there's a lot of use for this, to have internet. And again, it's 67, this is not negotiated. I mean, it's possible that if the township, and it would have to come through the township. We don't even have a mailbox over there. So it's possible that the money, it might not even be that much. Maybe there's a municipal rate. This is just something that I got.
And the cameras you were talking about, that's a definite, that option's a definite option?
I think they need to be cameras anyway. It's a
Well,
park.
what I'm saying is,
I mean, it should be
I think
cameras already.
it's a no-brainer for the township to say, if someone's donating cameras and we donate the internet, we get security down there for all reasons, not just for safety,
Yeah,
but for.
I'll have to get back to them because Jim Buxell called them and told them that we couldn't do it at this time. But she emailed me several times, made the offer, and she was very serious about it. And it's been a year. Things have probably changed in the camera world.
And I also think if that happens, that person should be credited with that donation at a board
Oh,
meeting as
absolutely,
well.
absolutely. We're still working on how we're going to credit donations. The gardeners have had a number of donations. We've had, the beekeepers gave us $3,500 for some plants. We're doing well. I mean, and one of the things that I tell the gardener, this is off the subject here, but one of the points that I make with the gardeners all the time, especially in the summer when everything is looking really lush, is when somebody says to you, who pays for all this? Make sure that you very carefully say who all pays for it, because they're donations, they are grants. None of the plants in the gardens have been paid for by the township. A lot of them, we're growing a lot of plants right now that we'll be giving to residents in April on Earth Day. As I said, I've got terrific volunteers. I mean, if they come up with an idea, they just go ahead and it happens. And the other thing is, finally, the third finally is, we want to start raising money. We have to start raising money for the mill. We know that. And I think that the internet's ability would be a big help to being able to specify who we send out to. I have a mailing list that goes out to 700 people every Wednesday and Thursday. that's not the list that I need to build. And that comes out of my own computer. That doesn't come out of anywhere else. So again, we need to build a donor list and start specifically sending to those folks. I'm going to look to Carl for help with that, and I have a couple of other volunteers who want to be very active in fundraising, and I just see the whole thing pulling together. And again, Luke didn't know about all this other stuff that we're doing. The programs for kids, I think, are extremely important. We see ourselves as the first step on learning about nature, because most of our kids are this high. And they are so excited, you know, they'll go down in the creek and without taking their shoes off and everything else. But they're always laughing and having a good time. So it's not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, I had a man come in who had heard about what we were doing with our water program, and he offered to buy some sort of a machine, and I showed him the sieves. I said, this is where we are. We are with kids, you know, we're the first step. We're learning, we're turning over rocks, we're doing that kind of thing. So he went back, he's trying to revisit what he can do to help us with our water program. People are just so enthusiastic about what they can do to help because they feel that kids have lost direction so far as nature goes. And now with in particular, the plank townhouses, I'm just stunned by the size of the backyards in those properties. And I carried on a little bit about that to the Planning Commission. But these kids have nowhere to go to walk outside and even see birds flying around. But they're not that far from the park, so they need to come to the park where they can run and carry on. So anyhow, thank you. And the other thing that you should come and, this just started this past weekend. Volunteers collected hundreds of ornaments, and they went up in this white trail, the spruce forest, and they hung ornaments. And it has become it's just amazing. It took off on Facebook. I've had probably 20 responses, positive responses from yesterday's email. Come and see the library.
Sandy, Chief has a question for you, and then I had one quick.
Yeah,
And then
so I have a comment. Regardless of the programs, we have been advocating for years now that when the time came for the mill to be doing programs, that they get some kind of security system down there. It is impossible for us to constantly monitor that park. So I'm 100% on board. Again, it's not about who pays for it. It's not how it, gets implemented or whatever. But the need for security cameras down there is very important.
Yep.
Sandy, the only thing I would say about the security cameras is that I would request that you please consult with us before you do this, because if you put a system down there that's not properly monitored, if it's not put in correctly, located correctly, it's going to be useless to us. So when it comes time to do that and you know the amount of money you have to put into it, we'll come down there, we'll take a look around, and we'll make the best suggestions. Every one of us in the PD has different systems, whether it be Ring or, Simply Safe or Wise or whatever, but some of these are very good cameras that can work interior and exterior, but we could show you how to set them up.
And I
so
would
that-
really, really appreciate that, because we don't. I mean, this
No, we
this
definitely help you
man that put the camera system together was just, trying to help.
Yeah.
But, yeah, please.
Okay. Yeah. No.
And frankly, do it now. Do it when you have some free time. Have somebody come down and give me okay, this is what we need, and then we'll take that out and get a price on it. And then I'll try to find somebody that'll donate the money for it.
And then I was just going to point out one other thing. Besides, that would be awesome if this person would still donate the cameras. But the second thing I was going to say is, with the programs in the park, maybe you guys have talked about this, but I'm seeing it more and more recently. For whatever reason, it's been out. The technology's been out for years. But the QR scanning codes. If you had a QR scanning code at a station where the kids, hey, this is the bushes, and it comes up on their phones, that's even, it's been out for years, but for whatever reason, right now, it's the hottest thing with scanning these QR codes.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but the park has a QR code. And it takes you right to our website, which is also wonderful. Another volunteer put together a fantastic website for us, listing everything that we do. And he did it all gratis, and he pays for whatever it costs every month. I've offered to pay him, and he refuses. It's his donation.
That's awesome.
But we have a QR code, which,
Will the
actually,
internet
the
be
QR
open-
code is posted on the bulletin board out here.
Will the internet be available to like walkers, like the public? Like it will be an open network, or is this gonna be a private? Because I think,
I have no idea what the answer to that is.
because I think it should be,
That would be.
We'd have to take,
Yeah.
you'd have to look at what kind of programs they're gonna run and how they're
Yeah.
gonna run them. Are they gonna use, if they had QR codes around the park as you walked around and you
Right.
scan it and get
Scan
a
it,
history
right.
lesson, it might have to be open,
Yeah.
but you can also set, you know, on the same system, you can set a secure login and an unsecure login. So if you had programs set up that you didn't want anybody tampering with, you could set that up on secure.
Yeah. And I know one of the other questions that was asked about security was who's going to monitor it, and it's going to go off at such and such a time. And Regina lives across the road, and she was willing to be the monitor. And we also have deer, but we don't really have deer down near the buildings. But now, as soon as I said that, I'll probably go back and find deer poo. But the deer, I don't think are active after 10 o'clock. I mean, you know, there's got to be a cutoff.
I know.
Our vandalism, you
I'll
know, they go
monitor the
home.
deer.
They go home they don't vandal after hours. And, I mean, you may know that Arn was our security, and he took care of the cameras that are on the trees, but then he had heart issues, and there went our security. Not for the minutes.
Yeah,
Don't let the kids know that, but I mean, it's just,
well,
we need security. We need something.
So-
This township has put such an investment in those buildings. We've got to do something.
so we're gonna wanna make, and we won't get into it right now. We're gonna wanna make sure that we have a system in there that does a 24/7 recording. You don't have to monitor.
You'll come
You
out.
go in there and you find damage, you call us, we go in,
My
we access the
questions
cloud
would
system,
be
or we
is
access
coming
the
out of the
recordings that you have.
Bondsville
Okay.
And we're able to use it.
Okay.
I don't think you'd have to have it 24/7.
Okay, well, please let me know when you've
But we
pulled that
could-
together.
I
You
would
can
like
also
some.
set something up too, I don't know, down the road, if you're gonna be dealing with, you know, are you gonna put
That
a
should be
system in,
built, I think it
if you have a library with books in it, you're gonna wanna protect that.
Not an
So
extra. not a
these are things you're gonna have to think about down, as you're developing the park. You
We
know,
do.
whether You want
We
building
do.
security and whatnot, and so,
And again, I mean, for the board, I don't know if you knew that we had grown like this, or if this is what you were picturing. We're a very different township park. There's not another township park that I know of, especially here in Chester County, that does what we do. And it's mainly because of the volunteers that are on board and willing to go out there. I mean, somebody asked a question about a plant. I have volunteers that get out their cell phone, they take a photo of it, punch, 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 and the plant comes up. We also have one for mushrooms and bugs and spiders and all kinds of, I mean, you're right, it's amazing what is available online. And everyone is more than willing. They love to walk around with these little kids. They're all grandmothers and grandfathers. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Luke has one comment, and then we'll,
Yeah, well, I want to say that the reason we're having this conversation this morning is because of a decision that I made, and so I want to provide some context. First of all, I don't think I can start any comments about the Bondsville Mill Park without acknowledging the tremendous contributions of the volunteers who have constructed this amenity to add to the portfolio of amenities that the township has. I am the township manager. As township manager, I am the chief purchasing officer for the township. Almost every month, there are purchases recommended by the Bondsville Mill Committee that are processed without in any way involving members of this board. If they are within my spending authority, they are within the budget limit set by the Board of Supervisors. They're just processed. I have on 2 occasions raised concerns about expenditures, and this is one of them. The reason I raised a concern about investing in broadband internet access at the park is that of the buildings that have been completed over there, only Building A, which is the home of the Welcome Center, the Nature Garden, and the museum for material related to the park's historic use, it has very limited occupancy. The occupancy permit allows for no more than 20 individuals to be in there. It also requires that for each 10 individuals who are visiting, there must be a docent present representing the township. The building does not have running water. So while it is a wonderful amenity, it is, from an occupancy perspective, a primitive amenity. And in our portfolio as a township, we have other resources, such as the room we're sitting in right now, where we could not have a better technology setup. We've got a screen that drops down, we can broadcast, we have internet access, there's free public Wi-Fi in here right now. I felt that given the limited occupancy of that building, it was inappropriate to invest in broadband internet access out at the park. And therefore, I said I will not be making this purchase. And Sandy took me up on an offer to come and make a presentation to the board. Obviously, if the board supports investing in internet access there out there, I'm going to do it. But I just want to explain how we got to this point, and in a way that isn't adversarial and is in fact appreciative of the work that the volunteers have done out there. Explain why I elected not to make this purchase.
I fully support that. I mean, it's, you, and again, you aren't aware of what we do outside of the building. Well, we don't have programs inside the building. We have them in front of the building in what I call the courtyard. The few programs that we were able to have this year, we had our tables set up, spread properly per CDC outlines. We built birdhouses. We did all kinds of things like that. But they were all outside, and again, we limited it to registrations of 10 per session, or 12 per, 10 per session. So, as I said, you just simply weren't aware of what else we do, Luke. And it is an important part of our outreach so far as helping kids learn about nature. And that's pretty much what we do. And I mean, if this board doesn't think we should be going in that direction, which I sort of, then I don't know what we'll do. Because I'd lose volunteers, because they really get so excited about showing people spiders. So anyhow, I would hope that, I just, ask that you approve the internet, whether it's today or at the next meeting. I certainly appreciate what Chief has said about the security, because we've talked about that for at least a year since the worst of the vandalism. And I was really glad to hear that we're going to be reimbursed for those windows. And did you have a question, George?
Oh, yeah, just aside for this topic before we discuss further, I would just like an update on the recovery of the mill post-flood. What's it look like? How's it look?
Well, Matt has been terrific. As you may know, the Beaver Creek itself didn't do any real damage to the park,
Okay.
although it did change the direction of the creek downstream, and I'm trying to get volunteers because we're going to have to put the trail in a different place if people want to be able to access the picnic table and the water. What happened was we had about 3 feet of water coming down Bondsville Road. My yard, for the first time in the 50 years I've lived there, had water pouring over the walls across the road. I've never seen that before. It was like just a continual waterfall. And it all went down Bondsville Road. The houses across the road were up to their porches. What happened at the park is it washed our parking lot out. It washed the parking lot into the upfront gardens, and we've been dealing with it. You can't say anything about losing a parking lot and a garden when people have lost their houses, for Pete's sake. And so we're dealing with it. We've shoveled the stone out of the gardens, and Matt has done a really great job of bringing in different stone to fill it, and it's settled. And now he's put another layer of some product on there. It's settling, because I'm starting to see the framework for the buildings that once upon a time were in the parking lot. So we're doing really well.
Okay. Thanks.
Well, I think that you guys are okay with it?
Yeah, my only question is that I feel it should be, if Bondsville Mill has a budget each year for everything they do, building, whatever. I feel it should be coming out of that budget, not a general expense. Or
Yeah, I
general
mean,
budget,
I
that's all.
agree, as long as it's, unless we see what security and everything entails, it might end up, have to come back to the, I don't know yet.
No, it won't have anything to do with security, because they're gonna get.
I'm saying, which is the whole package, though, I think,
Yeah.
once we get the whole package, we can decide how we're gonna finance it. I mean, But
Okay.
I think you're right.
I mean, are we talking about a wired system, or are we talking about like a puck?
No, probably just,
You were giving them the puck?
no, we're talking about a actual system that has a router in place, but not a
Okay, so it's
hotspot.
gonna be wired.
You don't need to have a wired system, but you can
No,
still
no,
do
plugged in,
wireless, but they need a router and maybe a couple joiners or whatever
Yeah,
throughout
but-
the woods.
Well, they're gonna need an internet line run into the
Well,
pond.
yes, and Verizon has offered to put
They have
that in
one,
for,
though. Butler Bouncing will probably let Verizon fix that. Their line's been stretched for years, he's been complaining, so maybe Verizon can fix that line by adding a new line.
well, good luck on that. I spent a solid weekend without phone service, talking to a Verizon bot. But I did finally get phone service, or a serviceman, and it was just like the old days when people smiled and looked at, did the job. But I'm told, I mean, the line can come into the telephone pole that's on the the building side of the creek, go down the telephone pole, and then there's a pipe underground that it can go through. And Verizon has said that they would install that for free.
Okay.
So there's no charge for that.
Okay,
So thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we're okay with it? Right?
Yeah, we're gonna
Oh,
there's gonna
okay.
be plans to get to security and. the whole
Could you
bit.
just keep us
Chiefs
abreast of the
involved.
situation with the volunteer for the cameras, Sandy? Sandy,
There's
could you just keep us in the loop if there is a volunteer for the cameras?
Well, more than, yeah, but I need a price.
Yeah.
And I still have her name and so forth, and I'll tell her that we're moving forward on it. But it might not be her, only because she was so taken back last year by the damage, and now we're working on a different
Right.
different.
Okay.
It was somebody that lived just up above the park.
Okay.
But no, I'm pretty good at getting money, so I'm not worried about that, as long as I have something to sell.
Okay. Is there any other public comment on agenda items? We held an executive session yesterday, December 1st, to discuss legal matters. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.